fabled heat, where magic meets desire. Subscribe to ignite the fantasy.
The scent of burnt ozone clung to the battlefield, a viscous, choking cloud that scraped against the back of my throat. It mingled with the metallic tang of blood, a scent I'd grown sickeningly familiar with over the years, a scent that seemed to seep into my very pores. My sword arm trembled, not from fear, but from the sheer, brutal exertion. The weight of Ethelred, my blade, was a constant, grounding presence, a reminder of every life extinguished, every battle survived, and the countless more I was sworn to fight. But even amidst the carnage, a different sensation burned brighter, the phantom touch of Alara's lips against mine, a memory stolen from a moonlit grove. It was a beacon, a promise, a reason to keep moving forward. I closed my eyes for a fleeting moment, drawing strength from the recollection. The way her skin felt, warm and silken beneath my fingertips, the delicate curve of her neck, the pulse fluttering there, a fragile rhythm I'd memorized, the soft, melodic whisper of her voice saying my name, Kaelin, as if it were a prayer. It was a dangerous indulgence, this dwelling on the past, but I needed it. I craved it. Opening my eyes, I scanned the smoke-filled temple. There, bound to the obsidian altar, a grotesque mockery of reverence, Alara. Her silver hair, usually cascading down her back like a waterfall, was matted with sweat and blood clinging to her face. Her eyes, normally vibrant amber, were sunken, shadowed with exhaustion and the relentless drain of her magic. The dark priests chanted, their voices slithering across my skin like venomous serpents, each syllable a violation. With every chanted word, the mark on my forearm, the soul-bond sigil, burned with a searing, agonizing fire, threatening to consume me from the inside out. It wasn't just pain, it was her pain, amplified and transferred directly to my being. Each stolen pulse of her magic, siphoned away by the priests, sent a jolt of agony through our connection, a constant, sickening reminder of the violation. "Hold on," I growled under my breath, the sound rough and strained. I parried a guard's clumsy strike, the clash of steel on steel echoing through the temple, a discordant symphony of violence. The guard, a hulking brute clad in black armor, snarled and pressed his attack. I disarmed him with a swift maneuver, sending his weapon clattering across the stone floor. Her amber eyes met mine across the chaos, and a wave of despair washed over me. They were filled with equal parts terror and longing, a desperate, silent plea for rescue, for salvation, a plea I would answer. The high priest, a gaunt figure draped in crimson robes, raised his ceremonial dagger, its edge glinting with a malevolent promise of pain. And then something inside me snapped. A roar ripped from my throat, shaking the very foundations of the temple. It wasn't a battle cry, it was a primal scream of rage, of possessive fury. Memories flooded my mind, a torrent of shared moments, her breath hot and sweet on my neck as she leaned in to whisper secrets. The way she'd arched against me in the sacred springs, her skin shimmering with water and moonlight. The whispered vows we'd made under the dying embers of a fallen star, promises of forever, of unwavering devotion. I remembered the feel of her hair in my hands, the silken strands tangling around my fingers, the softness of her skin, the gentle curve of her lips. This wasn't just a rescue mission, this was a reckoning. For every moan they'd stolen from her lips, for every shuddering gasp they'd twisted into screams, I would make them pay, in rivers of their own blood. For every moment of fear they'd inflicted, for every drop of blood they'd spilled, I would exact a terrible price. And for every fragment of her soul they'd dared to shatter, I would rebuild it, piece by agonizing piece, with my own life force if necessary. As I fought my way through the remaining guards, I felt Alara's presence within me, a fragile but insistent guiding force. It wasn't a voice, not exactly, more like a current, a pull, directing my movements, sharpening my instincts. I could sense her pain, a searing ache that mirrored my own, her fear, a cold dread that threatened to paralyze me, and her desperation, a silent scream that echoed in the depths of my soul. It fueled my determination, hardening my resolve. I would stop at nothing to free her from this place, to shatter the chains that bound her, and to restore her magic to its former glory. The battle raged on, a chaotic whirlwind of steel and shadow. The sound of clashing weapons, the scent of sweat and blood, the guttural cries of the wounded, it all faded into a background hum, a meaningless distraction. My focus was solely on Alara, on reaching her before it was too late. I moved with a speed and ferocity I didn't know I possessed, each strike precise, each parry flawless. The high priest's voice rose above the din, a dark incantation that seemed to leech the very life force from Alara. I redoubled my efforts, my sword a blur of silver, slicing through the remaining guards with ruthless efficiency. My heart pounded in my chest, a frantic drumbeat urging me onward. I was getting closer, closer to the altar, closer to Alara. And then in a fleeting moment of clarity, I saw my chance. A gap in the defenses, a momentary lapse in concentration from the high priest. I struck down the last guard, his body collapsing in a heap at my feet. With a final, mighty roar, I leapt forward, Ethelred flashing in the dim light. The high priest's eyes widened in surprise as I knocked the dagger from his hand, sending it spinning across the stone floor. He stumbled backward, his face contorted with fear. I didn't hesitate. With a swift, merciless stroke, I ended his dark ritual, severing the connection between him and Alara. The temple fell silent, the only sound the heavy breathing of the wounded and the soft, ragged gasps of Alara. I rushed to her side, my heart pounding in my chest, and with gentle, reverent hands I began to free her from her bonds. The obsidian chains clattered to the floor as they fell away, leaving her weak and trembling in my arms. She collapsed against me, her body shaking with exhaustion, her eyes filled with tears. "I'm here," I whispered, holding her close, my lips brushing against her ear. "I'm here, and I'll never let you go." She looked up at me, her eyes searching mine, and I saw the depths of her soul, the pain, the fear, and the unwavering love. "I knew you'd come," she whispered, her voice barely audible, a fragile thread of sound. "I knew you'd save me." I held her closer, feeling her heart beat against mine, feeling our soul bond pulse with renewed strength, a vibrant, healing energy. "I'll always come for you," I vowed, my voice filled with conviction. "I'll always save you, no matter what dangers, no matter what challenges we may face." And as I held her, cradling her in my arms, I knew that our love would conquer all, that our bond would overcome any obstacle, and that together we would face whatever the future may hold. The scent of ozone still lingered, but now it was overshadowed by the sweet, familiar fragrance of Alara's skin, a scent that promised hope and a future worth fighting for.